So Boosie say he chosen. We're gonna have a look. So I don't know if this is his exact birth time, but I'm pretty sure that 8:43 a.m. is pretty close to when he was born. Um, you look at his 11th house. All the planets in his 11th house. You know, his sun, Venus, Jupiter, Mercury, and the moon. All in the 11th house, all in the sign of Scorpio. Now, when you look at this, it's important to understand, Jupiter rules Sagittarius, his first house, you know, it's in the sign of Scorpio. And then the 11th house is social house. You know, he identifies and is known, far and wide, because Sagittarius spreads far and wide, for his connections to the street life. Scorpio rules the street life. And it's clear by the stellium, a 5-planet stellium, in the sign of Scorpio, that he really, really enjoys that lifestyle and is affluent in the lifestyle, because not only is the ruler of his rising sign there conjunct his sun and conjunct Venus, the sun is wedged in between Jupiter and Venus. He finds a lot of wealth and abundance in the street life, you know. So it's a hard thing for him to leave, you know, with the moon, his moon sign in Scorpio, you know, he has a very, and all these planets in Scorpio, he has a very fixed nature, very stubborn, man. Hard to change and expand his awareness, you know. But all this group of planets right here are connected to his 10th house. And his 10th house is a sign of Pluto, which rules, is the planet Pluto, which rules Scorpio. Now, with the ruler of all these planets being in the 10th house, that tells you his social status makes and breaks him. It creates his placement in the world. Pluto in the 10th house is a sign of a chosen person. It's the sign of a strong leader, a powerful person. But just because you have Pluto in your 10th house, it doesn't mean that you're going to take advantage of that energy. It could just mean that you never come into your power. You just have the illusion of power, because you can manipulate a few people, So it's important, when someone says they're chosen, for them to really understand the scope of their power and how they limit their power by, limiting their understanding. When you look at Pluto is making a sextile to his Neptune. Neptune is in Sagittarius in his first house. That's how I know he has psychic powers. He has psychic powers, and Neptune in the first house also, give person that star quality about him. And it makes person more inclined to want to escape from reality, this physical human reality. He also has Saturn, another planet of prestige, in his 10th house. That's another good sign to show that somebody is chosen. Is conjunct Pluto, a power planet. Saturn rules his second house of values. Capricorn on the second house, he's serious about his values. He gonna die about it for real. He gonna die about it for real. But at the same time, death isn't limited to physical death. Sometimes death, the ability to die about it is the ability to leave things when they're no longer suiting you, to shed things that are inhibiting your growth, letting that part of you die in order for the rest of you to live. And that's the dilemma that he's really going through right now. If you look, we're going to click over here to his transits. when you look at the transits in Boosie's chart, he got a lot of oppositions to his natal planets. You know, Venus is opposite his moon right now, and it's gonna oppose his Mercury, his Jupiter, his Sun, his Venus. You know, Uranus is opposite, you know, his moon, and that worries me because his moon rules the eighth house of death. You know, that's not just death, but it's the house of transformation. And it bothers me because he's so stubborn that he can miss a blessing or allow himself to be pulled into some bullshit that makes him miss his blessing. You know, Mars right here in his seventh house, the house of war. You know, it's about to conjunct his North Node, you know, and the ruler of the North Node is the moon, and that's connected to his eighth house of death, you know, and, you know, Mars rules his fourth house of endings, you know, so there's some complex stuff going on in this chart right now that's gonna make him make some choices, man. You know, he really has the opportunity to transform his life. You also look over here, you know, transit in Pluto is squaring his natal Pluto in his second house of values. Pluto in your second house just tells you, you know, you need to change your values or you're gonna get folded up. The best thing about this, you know, right now is Jupiter is trine in Pluto. He has the opportunity to make a lot of money right now. A lot of money. In good ways. But it's all about how he, you know, presents himself in his image because Jupiter rules his first house and how the world views him. You know, Saturn is gonna make some good aspects, you know, to Pluto. And it's also gonna trine his Saturn, you know, in the next year or so. So he got some good opportunities to really rise to power. But with this stellium transit opposing this stellium in his 11th house, especially with Uranus and the Sun, you know, making these oppositions, and Mercury, he's really considering this social environment and the people that he fuck with. I guarantee you that. You know, seeing where he's at, how he got there, you know, who's been an asset and who's been a liability. He's really evaluating things because, you know, the fifth house is your house of how you market yourself and your publicity. You know, he got Taurus on the fifth house, so it's good for the money. He good for making money. You know, good for the gambling. Taurus on the fifth house, good for gambling. You know, the ruler of the fifth is up there in the 11th house of the hopes and wishes. So, you know, it's important that you establish yourself. You got an earth sign on your fifth house. If you're not establishing yourself in the physical world, writing things down, making your dreams, you know, tangible, you know, putting these ideas that you have in a tangible form, it's not gonna work for you. You know, with all those planets in your fifth house, the house of how you market yourself, you really need to, you know, look at how how you allow people in the world to see you. You know, the sun going into your fifth house, the sun rule your ninth house. That's a good opportunity to promote yourself overseas, man. You know, create some connections overseas. Really good opportunity for that. You know, Mercury, that's business, new business partnerships. You know, and Mercury also rules, you know, your intercepted ninth house. Virgo is intercepted in your ninth house of faith and belief. You know, so it's really a good time to analyze your belief systems and take into account, you know, the choices that you make. Got a lot of good opportunities. You have the power and the potency in your chart to be the chosen. And a lot of people are chosen. That's what the world doesn't realize. A lot of us are chosen. But the thing is, will people step into the position that they're chosen for. In order to be a great leader, you have to be able to know when to navigate your people on a different course. Sure, you're chosen, but will he be able to step into the position that he's chosen for?